pass on consent. It didn't really seem like an issue, and to my knowledge, and speaking with chiefs throughout the county, it was not an issue in the towns that adopted it. But I'll laud you for doing your due diligence. We'll leave it at that. There's just so much misinformation out there that this is kind of taken upon a life of its own. This is just a portal that, let me start over. A doorbell that videotapes, I think we could probably agree for the most part, is a good thing. And if you don't think so, you don't buy one. Nobody's making you buy it. So let's say it's a good thing. We're not endorsing Amazon or Ring. There's other companies out there that do these. I would suggest anybody get this because I think personally it's a good crime prevention tool. But Ring has taken it to another level that they've given a portal for people to share their video. They can have a Ring doorbell and not join this portal in their neighborhood, which has a geofence just kind of limited to their neighborhood. It's not the whole town. They can join it or they cannot join it. If they choose to join it, they can upload or they cannot upload. It's not automatic. There's no facial recognition involved. It's not a Fourth Amendment search, as the woman questioned. Fourth Amendment searches are government intrusion. This is something that a private citizen is uploading. We have access to it by this memorandum of agreement. As far as the press release, it's right in the memorandum of understanding that it has to be a joint press release agreed to by both sides before it goes out. And we're not going to endorse anybody. We're not going to endorse Ring. We're going to endorse this portal as a good mechanism for crime prevention in neighborhoods. But I would certainly suggest that probably our PIO works on the verbiage, but it goes eventually to legal before anybody signs off on that press release. I said there's no facial recognition. You mentioned Trayvon Martin. I don't know if you would like to, Councilman, if you would like to remind everybody who Trayvon Martin is, rest their soul. Do you want to do that?
So I would, thank you. And the facial recognition technology is not available here yet, but they have filed a patent in December to have that accessible. And that was just part of my concern.
I understand. We don't have it in our memorandum of understanding. So it's not, by signing this doesn't, even if they come out with that and they use it, it doesn't give us access to it.
And also,
I'm not a big fan of it personally right now. I think it's in its infancy, and I think it's something that should continue being developed in the private sector, but for law enforcement purposes right now, it's not there.
Okay, and Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, and Michael Brown, they were all young black men who were profiled, and unfortunately, because they were profiled, lost their lives. Trayvon Martin was walking through his neighborhood with a packet of Skittles and an iced tea bottle, or Snapple bottle, I'm sorry, and was presumed to have been there where he didn't belong when he in fact was going to his father's house, and was assaulted and killed by so he was a resident neighbor who took it upon himself to do neighborhood watch, if you will. That notwithstanding the fact that there is large racial disparities in education, in schooling, in policing, that's not contested, that is research, it is there. And my concern is when I see these videos posted on social media, it's typically someone of color, and just the perception of that scares me. The perception of participating in that scares me. I don't think that we live in an environment, and particularly when the disparities are so large in our structures, right? In our schools, in our policing departments, in our jails. I met with the executive director, David Boyd, of the North Detention Center on August 2nd. And the first thing he said was, look around. You don't see a lot of people that look like me in this facility. That is undeniable. There are biases in all of our social structures, unfortunately, and I, speaking from someone who is a person of color, is alarmed at the fact that this will just be something else. Again, I have one. If I choose to share my video with you, I think that that's my personal choice. But to put this out there and in fact, you know, make our residents sort of, you know, assist in policing, not that they shouldn't, in this regard is very frightening. I've looked at some of those videos and it's pretty grainy at night, particularly when you see someone approaching your ring. I can see a lot of opportunities for there to be increased disparities in our community. And quite frankly, tensions raised in our community, unfortunately.
Okay, so we can't access this without an active case number, just to, this is available anyway. Whether we do this here, or you collectively do this here this evening or not, this is available to residents that have a Ring doorbell. They can still do it and share it, and all those biases can occur, but the reason I really wanted to drill down on the whole Trayvon Martin thing was, and you answered it correctly, because I can't tell you how many times I've heard that he was killed by a police officer.
No, I would never misspeak.
You were right, but I was confident you would be. I wasn't trying to say, yeah. The fact that my point I wanted to drive home is that maybe if law enforcement was involved, rather than an untrained security officer, Trayvon Martin would be alive today. I don't know.
There's many circumstances surrounding racial bias incidents.
We're just asking for a seat at the table for what the residents who own a Ring doorbell can already do. Basically, voting this down is saying the residents can look at all this and have access to crimes. I mean, we've solved crimes with our neighboring communities, have a couple of the chiefs that are on the list from Ring that are participating in the portal have solved crimes through it. So everybody can look at it except the West Orange Police Department. It's there, join it, you got a Ring doorbell, share your information, but let's not tell the police. I mean, it's sort of counterproductive.
It's not, let's not tell the police, it's a choice that I as a resident.
But you still have that choice, you don't lose that.
Have that
you still have that
independence
choice.
made.
You volunteered that you have a Ring doorbell. You still have that choice. You have the choice to join the portal or not join the portal. And if you join, you have the choice whether to share that data or not share that data. You can share it or you can just leave it on your own hard drive.
Okay, well, I just want to be very clear, particularly since this is something that will be listened to later. It is not a matter simply of voting it down. You're not willing to help, right, secure our residents. I am trying to help secure our residents, particularly those that are underprivileged, underserved, marginalized, and oppressed by systems that have been created to do so. I am not willing to participate in that forum that just gives that much more of an opportunity for that to be maybe the case. I'm not willing to be there. Neither am I willing to support a company like Amazon who is actively looking to continue to seek immigrants out, whether documented or undocumented, because those are also our residents here in town, and I am not going to participate in that. And unfortunately, when we talk about immigration, just like one of our residents earlier said, if they break the law and they're immigrants, then they should. Coming here seeking asylum is not illegal. Just because you're documented, that does not mean you have broken the law. There is no criminal charge. The people that are being held in the ICE detention centers currently are being held as detainees, unfortunately, without having broken a law. There is no criminal charge. They're civilly detained. They should not be in jail, but that's a story for another day. I don't want to continue to stoke those fears, that we don't call it out when it's said. The fact of the matter is that being an immigrant in this country, documented or undocumented, does not make a crime. And I just am not willing to support a company like Amazon, and I'd be very saddened and disappointed to see a community who has spoken out against this support that.